All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Solo Score Rush. And this is going to be our first round of 32 match, starting pretty early on a Friday, actually. So today we do have moths versus senkhyu, which is going to be kind of an interesting matchup, I would say. So looking at this seed 3 versus seed 30, quite a noticeable skill gap, but still looking at the performance that we have seen from what they have played, I think this is going to be a very interesting match. So we'll just have to see. As always, in the commentary booth, introducing was Nightcore, and joining me is going to be none other than Snow. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for this match, and I think it's going to be very interesting, especially given that Thankyu's only played. Actually, they haven't played. They've only played qualifiers.
Um, I think. No, wait, hold on. Um,
Wait,
I
give
think.
me 1 second.
Wait, wait, hold on. Okay. Moths has played. Last week it was against seed 62 against Fuyushi, winning by 159k. So I do believe winning a bit early, and senkhyu, yeah, getting that comfortable win by default last week as well. So now we don't really have a lot much to work off other than their qualifier results, and kind of looking off from it, I think both players are pretty well balanced. But kind of just looking, it looks like some of them probably haven't full comboed some of the maps. So we'll just have to see what they are getting off from.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this match. I mean, especially given that we're going into like this next round. I mean, with each of these rounds coming by, things are going to get a lot more intense. And I mean, we're already in round of 32, and these pools are so hard. And we're kicking things off with Hybrid 3, our more speedy hybrid, kind of Ellen biased right now at the moment.
Yeah, I think this is kind of going to be for most of this map, as you were saying, and I would probably guess that this is going to be Moss pick. Just kind of, looking off the qualifier stats, they had some very impressive LN scores over the qualifiers, so I would not really be too surprised. But we have seen as well, senkhyu can definitely hold their own. But off the intro already, gonna be not really too much of a score gap of that 2,000 point lead from Moss, but anything can still happen. Really, I think it's just going to be more managing your combo, especially when we do get into that ki later.
Yeah, this one's definitely going to be very combo dependent, but it's also going to be very accuracy dependent just because of how like these outlets are. I mean, it's still a hybrid at the end of the day, so it's still testing both, but like with this pick specifically, I mean, we all know that it's slowly becoming an Ellen pick. It's more Ellen biased, especially here, and just because of how technical this can be in terms of Ellen releases.
And here we are getting into the drop. senkhyu is going to be finding their first miss, so it's not really looking too. Score isn't really looking too wise for them. But we still have one for the map left, where it is just pretty much raining down on some of those shields, some of those 1/6 patterns as well in the stream, and a lot of those scatter releases. I think both players are managing this well, but it's just kind of keeping on to that combo, which senkhyu is unfortunately finding that overdrop again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to see both either player missing at any point. I mean, we're almost done, but like the kind of speed of these bursts can be very brutal, and especially with like that release aspect, it adds a little bit of technicality to that, and I could definitely see why senkhyu missed like kind of earlier into this.
Oh, definitely. And as we do kick off with the outro, it's just going to be kind of your simple mini hybrid section as we have seen with the intro. So I think both players are still probably going to manage to swing through this section pretty nicely. And that's going to be Moth with the 25k score lead with that very comfortable and impressive 991.
That is a very nice score, especially on a pick like this one. I mean, I feel like we really kind of have to wait and see to see how consistent senkhyu is. I mean, given their approach on this, it is a little bit scary. It looks like it was actually their pick. Let me
Hmm.
just fix the laser reply real quick.
So Senku's pick. Look, if I'm going to be honest, I'm like I think it definitely was a bit more risky to pick something more into the hybrid aspect, especially more of an LN focused. Compare, like, as we have seen from the qualifiers, that we know that moths can hold their own. Like, I do believe they were scoring around the 990 range for most of the LN picks, so definitely not really the best territory, I would say, to jump into straight away. But now we'll just have to see what Moss has to pick, and we're actually still keeping on to the hybrids. It is going to be our technical hybrid into hybrid 2, and oh boy, what a map this is.
Yeah, this one is going to be really, really scary to see in action. I mean, we know. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you've been watching this one, I mean, you know how Livium charts. They're a very, very technical charter, and I think this one is no exception to that one. I feel like this one's going to be just who can stay consistent, honestly.
Oh, definitely, and especially at that length, only at 2 minutes 16 seconds. Finding those misses is gonna be pretty detrimental when it does get added up to the score difference. So it is. Oh. And like, you're just getting thrown into it straight away with that mini dump, all those staggers as well. I do believe at 1/7 as well. So when we do get into the first Ki, this is where the technicality is going to shine.
Yeah, you really start to get into both of these dumps and these mini jack shield patterns. It's really awkward to be able to stay consistent. And just as I say that, we see Moth dropping that miss. Potentially, this is what senkhyu was going for in their last pick.
senkhyu definitely has to hold on to that combo now, and
as you say that.
Okay, but straight it back. Okay, I can see still goes over towards Moths, but after the first drop now, where things do kind of calm down a bit, still heading into those staggered releases, but definitely minusing some of the mini jacks and some of those shields as well. Maybe maybe both players can definitely calm their nerves a small bit. But at this point, I would be surprised if the score would flicker over back to Moths just because of the accuracy, just because of the sheer accuracy difference alone. We could see a lot of stray 200s coming from. We can see a few stray 200s coming from senkhyu on some of those staggers, but we'll have to see how both these players do manage when we do get into the final Ki, where we have the deadly gray section when we get into it.
Yeah, I think it's most of these like abrasive patterns that's really giving both these players trouble. I mean, we could kind of see it like these shields with like these dumps combined, they make senkhyu drop a little bit more 200s. I mean, it's starting to be more noticeable, especially with that lead really starting to shift towards Moth's favor by a lot. He's just gonna have to really hope that Moth finds a miss in this section.
We'll have to see. The quads are also rolling in, so it might be hard to transition from out the releases as well. But now with the outro, coming in, things are starting to calm down a small bit. Both players still managing to hold on to the combo, and I would say only around a 5k point difference as well, or a 6.5k point difference on your opponent's pick. Not really too bad, but still, just that difference alone between both players and those very impressive scores.
Yeah, it was really just those LNs. I mean, both these players didn't get a miss. It was just like those slider breaks, which I mean, I can't really blame them, especially like the amount of coordination required for a pick like this one. Because of course, obviously you have the shields, which it's a more physical aspect to this pick. But then you have like all these like dumps mixed in, like the bursts that come in. But it looks like we'll be straight going into hybrid 1, finishing off our hybrids. Very interesting to see in my opinion.
Yeah, you can. Not really a lot of people do take the hybrids. Like, you might see one hybrid being picked, but this might be one of the first times in this tournament that we're going to be seeing all our hybrids exhausted this early. So, what I could say about this, I would say this is probably the closest we'll see to something more of a tiebreaker-oriented style hybrid, where you kind of have to manage a lot in this. There's some technicality, jump stream, and even some BPM changes which we will see later in the map.
Yeah, I mean, all these picks are really short. I think it makes sense to maybe exhaust these picks off. I mean, especially if we're looking at moths, who potentially might be wanting to gain those like advantages very early on. I mean, potentially maybe not gain the biggest advantages, but like we know that like for every score advantage, it snowballs into something even bigger, and we really start to see it with that 32k lead.
Yeah, even if Senkhyu still manages to put up that great fight like they are doing right now, they still have to worry about, getting that score difference at the very end,
Oh yeah.
and making sure it doesn't go past 50,000 points as well at the end of it. But after the intro, both players managing to hold on to the jump stream very well. Senku dropping a slight bit of accuracy when it does come to some of those mini jacks. But as we are a quarter in, we are approaching near that BPM change section, and here we go, raining down on all of those mini jacks, all of those technical scattered releases as well. Still holding on very well for both players, but that can change anytime.
Yeah, I feel like these more technical sections, like especially even like these type of patterns where you have these shields and these shields, I feel like like these types of patterns might potentially favor Senku a little bit more, especially with what we saw in Hybrid 3.
Oh, I would definitely agree with that. And you can definitely see now that they were holding their own on that. And as we do get through the halfway mark, here we are with the mini jacks. We'll have to see how both players do manage to hold that on. A few 200s being dropped by Senku, dropping below that 99.6%. Still, Moth is just holding on very well, not showing any signs of fatigue. But Senku, on the other hand, unfortunately, finding that combo break is not really going to be benefiting them, especially as we do approach that final quarter where things are only going to be spiking back up, even getting to that original BPM as well later.
Yeah, it's definitely not the thing that Senku wanted to see. I mean, we saw that they were able to hold a little bit more consistently with Hybrid 3, but the issue was that their act was a lot more lower, which I guess it kind of shows that a pick like this one's a very gamble when it comes at least to Senku's side, but thankfully it is Moth's pick, so we don't have to worry too much on the side of Senku.
Senku finding that final drop when we do get into that final hybrid section, throwing everything at you, some of those releases, and here we are with the outro, just throwing in that final dense jump stream section with some of those mini jacks as well. Both players still holding on. Moss still holding on to that full combo. Will they manage to get that full combo? We will just have to see when we do get to that outro. And it looks like, yes, it is 994.5, and actually increasing that score lead up to 50,000 points. Very impressive scores from both players, and really strong consistency shown from Moths.
A 10 to 1 plus, like even on like a pick like this one, like sure you can argue like we're still I guess in the early game stages of this tournament, but still like we've seen that these picks are still conventionally kind of difficult, and being able to just hold an accuracy like that, even like still, it's so impressive. Even like the fact that it's a hybrid, that's just so impressive. I mean, it is Senkyu's pick, so we'll see what they go with.
I think the fact as well that was OD 7.8, only managing to hit 200 and 150 throughout the map is just really impressive. And Senku just jumping straight into Rice 2, gonna be our jump stream stamina oriented pick. Look, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really too sure what to think about this pick.
I think it makes sense, honestly. I mean, we saw in Hybrid 3 that they can be a little bit more consistent at times. So potentially they might be wanting to kind of see if they can win that consistency battle, and maybe they go for another one of like these, I guess, more raw skill physical picks, maybe like something similar to Rice 1 potentially. I mean, that's still on the board.
Yeah, that is a pretty good point. So, I think definitely Senku does have to kind of focus more on the Rice when... Yeah, I think Senku just has to focus on Rice. Like, especially when you kind of jump into the territory of LN where, Moss just fries off a bit more.
I mean, I argue it's still less risky though. I mean, I would think at least most people know Moth as like a really hard leaderboard farmer, especially like difficulty around this range. I mean, we see their accuracy, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and after the intro, we can already see Moss was a bit more consistent as he could see from the unstable rate, but still both players still holding on to that full combo. It is going to be around 235 BPM, so 10 BPM increase from what we have seen from last week. And here we are, the trills are going to be pretty much raining in from this point on. So we're going to have to see how both these players do manage. Like any combo break would be very brutal for any players to kind of drop on at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, I mean, these trills like raining in and out. I mean, you have to do a lot of transitioning on like a pick like this one, which you might not think is like a really transitioning pick. Oh, and that's the myth that Senkhyu just wanted.
That is pretty much going to be a lottery ticket now for Senkhyu. Let's just hope they do not lose it and find that combo break. Especially now that the difficulty of the map is only going to be pretty much be showing its true colors now, as you have to play this non-stop. A lot more of those trills jumping in. Even some of those angry streams as well being seen as well. But the score might be actually shifting over back towards moths. They still have the higher accuracy at the end. They still have the higher accuracy. If moths can just hold on, and Senkhyu is unfortunately going to be losing that full combo. It is just going to be signs of life for moths now if they can still hold on.
Yeah, especially with just how like more prevalent these trills start to become, and just with like you said, it's so non-stop. I mean, a pick like this one might be fine, but like when you're trying to hold very strong accuracy, stay very consistent, this becomes so stamina draining, even if you're very physical.
Definitely. And here we are with the outro, the final hand stream. Both players managing to capitalize off it. But if both players capitalize off it, then pretty much no one can. Still very good scores from both players. Actually holding on to that 998 from Moss, 979 as well from Senkhyu. But that is only going to be increasing the score over to 58,000. But now with the fourth map out the way, Senkhyu does get their second ban, which I would not be surprised if it was one of the LNs. Probably, I would say maybe something like LN3 would be my bet.
Yeah, I think LN1 or LN3, and as I say that, LN1 does get banned. I think it makes sense. I mean, it's very 50-50 if you're even able to play something like LN1 though.
Yeah, I would probably agree. And I would agree. But, see, the thing is, whatever one Senkhyu would ban, they'll probably go for the other one sometime soon. And Moss is going to be banning Rise 4, kind of doubling down on that more riskier side. So sorry to see your map getting banned, Snows, but
I feel like that's a little bit of a question of ban, though. I mean, we saw how Rise 2 went. I mean, we saw that Moth drop that consistency, and like something like Rise 4, it's not that physically demanding compared to Rise 1.
Oh yeah, like I think Moss was able to like do well on the pick even with those combo breaks early on from Rise 2. I think Rise 4 would have been a pretty decent pick for them. But now, not the worst ban, but there was definitely better in my opinion. And now Moss is going to be jumping into LN2, which is going to be our density pick.
I think this pick makes sense on the side of Moth. I mean, we saw how Rise 2 went, and especially given that it seems like they do have a little bit of that advantage when it comes to the like accuracy side of like these like more LN-y hybrid-y picks. This one probably suits them just perfect.
You can't also forget as well that I do believe Senkhyu's weakest map in the qualifiers was the LN density pick, so this does make sense from that range, but you'll never know what does happen during the qualifiers. Senkhyu definitely holding on pretty well as we do kind of get the density reigning in a small bit, but again, like Moss just having that accuracy powerhouse at this moment, but we still have the remainder of the map, which when we do get into the next area, we're going to be seeing a bit more of that density and even some more of those kind of coordination-esque releases and those free node columns. I actually realized that as well.
Yeah, I mean, a pick like this one isn't as simple as most like LN density picks that most people are akin to. I mean, it might not seem like it here, but like having to play this, it's very coordination heavy. Like most people expect these LN density picks to be kind of more free for Rise players, but like early on they tend to be kind of coordination heavy, and this one's no exception, especially with those bursts that come in.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, especially even if looking at those free node columns as well, both are still holding on very well, both keeping those full combos. But as we do get with that outro, this final density burst, kind of as the last breath, I don't really think anything is bulging for both players, just showing their overall consistency through the map. So, still very impressive scores from both players. 991, 982, double FC on the board as well. Very impressive from both players.
Absolutely. It's really just unfortunate for senkhyu. I mean, they've had their chances, but it's really just being able to hold that consistency. I mean, they've shown that they're able to combo these files. It's just really a matter of staying consistent when moth drops.
Yeah, moss drops tend to be a bit cleaner from what I have been seeing. So if it's kind of more something that they drop on, if they had a higher accuracy, it's not really too punishing for them unless I think you can capitalize off it. But now with their pick, there's only two more on the board, and it has to be Rise 1. Like, I don't really think Ellen 3 would not really suffice them, so I think it's better to kind of play a bit more safe, and they actually banned the wrong Rice.
Oh, they picked the ban one too.
Yeah, they banned the wrong Rice. Okay.
Yeah,
They were
honestly,
actually going for,
oh, go on.
oh yeah, they were going to go for Cortex Charger for the pick instead of banning it, but I think Cortex pick would have been a good pick for them. So yeah,
I feel like it's very risky though. I mean, we saw how Rice 2 went. I mean, sure, it's more physical, but like, can they stay consistent? That's the real question. Because obviously, I mean, with someone like Moth, it's definitely easy to see them miss on a pick like that one. But it's just, can senkhyu combo it though?
yeah. And not even combo, hold on to the accuracy as well. Like, especially as we have seen with Moth finding drops from before, still managing to kind of shake the dust off themselves and manage to kind of get that score lead. So, Rice 1 is going to be getting picked next. And I do believe that senkhyu does have to win this by around 18,000 points if they do want to go into tiebreaker, I do believe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think on a pick like this one, maybe it's a little bit more manageable to think, okay, an 18k lead. Because, I mean, it's a speed pick. Most people aren't that comfortable when it comes to speed picks. And especially for a pick that focuses more on your ability to play these fast patterns, it's so easy to potentially just calm lock or just get a rush of 50s, 100s.
Definitely. Both players definitely have to kind of hold on. Just have to hold on up and just hope that they do not find a rush of combo breaks or any CB rushes as well. But we'll have to see how both these players manage. This is probably one of our more simple maps. Just where it does kind of transition between that 157 BPM jump streak, and then it goes into. Oh,
I would kind of disagree with you on this being simple. I mean, sure, it's a speed pick, but there's so much transitioning skills that are required for this one. I mean, especially with the mini jacks that are kind of littered within this file. Like, especially like right here, you see those mini jacks, and you have to go straight from one hand right to the opposite hand.
oh yeah. I did forget about that, and thank you not really having the best time with it. Finding a few 200s, kind of transitioning in, and that combo break as well. Again, with speed, it's like, if you're not really able to keep up with the BPM or the stamina, then it's very easy to get drowned in the barrage.
There's
But
so
as
much
we do get,
factors that go into that, honestly. I mean, especially because like speed is such like a finger independency test as well.
oh yeah, 100%. And with that first drop out the way, both players were getting that clean transition into the second drop. But in Senkyu's case, I fear that the damage might have already been done if Moth can just keep holding on. And now we just have one more drop left where the density does kind of rile up a bit more, and having those harder transitions as well. We'll have to see how both these players manage.
Yeah, especially as we get to this section. I mean, sure, you have these 1/4 like patterns, but you also have to transition in and out of like these speed sections, which can be kind of hard on their own, especially like if you're not fully prepared. And like that, we're finally getting into this final chorus.
And running up that density a bit, Senku actually climbing their accuracy slightly upwards again. And that is going to be it. 995. 995 from Moss as well. Very impressive. Actually getting that V1 double S as well. Senku not really too far behind as well, getting that near 980k. But with that 83 K point lead, it is going to be Moss getting their victory into the round of 16 winners bracket, I do believe.
Hmm.
So well played to both players. Again, putting up really good fights, but at the end of the day, you can definitely see why both these players seeded the way they were, and seeing how Moss seeded third with those very impressive scores, and
Oh yeah.
Senku as well.
Yeah, I mean, Senki put up a really good fight. I mean, especially for someone this strong, and like, especially in an area where they excel at. I mean, they put a good fight. They almost got a few picks. It really just was a matter of their consistency.
Yeah, definitely. And with Moth just being that absolute powerhouse they are, Senku definitely putting up that really strong fight will definitely get their opponent kind of a bit more nervous when it does come to the losers bracket next week. Where I do believe Senku will be facing, if I can bring up the bracket here, it's going to be the winner against Sun No, aka No Steel, versus Ligon, which is actually happening tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And for the winners bracket for Moths, they will be facing the winner of Darkchiser versus the Peace. So also another one you should probably stay tuned for. Gonna be very interesting matchups.
I believe that one's, yeah, that one's gonna be fairly soon. I mean, it's like a lot of hours for now, but still, I mean, it's the next match after the next one, which is at 0 UCC. It's gonna be Homyu versus Soundy.
Also a very interesting matchup. So again, you should watch it if you can.
Yeah, I mean, especially as we just continue on this tournament, these matchups are just gonna get a lot more interesting. But I guess that's kind of it for now, unless you have anything else to say.
No, I'm pretty much out of words. So I guess we could just sign off for a while.
Alright, I've been your streamer, Snow, and I will be seeing you in the next match.
Goodbye.